Welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you. I'm very, very grateful that you've taken the time out. We are on day 6 of 14 days of self-love series. So if you are here today and you are catching this live, I'm super duper grateful. Thank you so much for being here. If this is your first time and you're catching me live on the 14 days of love, this is a series, then welcome, welcome, welcome. Remember, I have something very, very special at the very end of this presentation. So just make sure that you stick to the very end. If you're catching this, just go ahead and hashtag replay to let me know that you've been checking out the lives. And if you haven't checked the other ones out, we're on day 6. So we're going to just go ahead and go back 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And there's tons on there. Now, I do have a little bit of a, I just want to let you all know that I have company over. And so it's a little loud back there. I kind of told them I'm trying to be quiet, but just know if you hear a lot of laughing, joking around, things like that, we do have some company here. So just so you have a heads up. All right, let's get this party started. If you don't know me, my name is Tanisha Portier, and I'm super excited to talk about and extend this series of 14 Days of Love. It's overrated, so underrated. It's underrated. Self-love is underrated. And so now is the time to take some extensive time out, 14 days, to just go dive deep into the inner work so that we can learn to love ourselves a little bit more every day. And so today's topic is shadow work, healing the inner child. Self-love is healing the inner child and shadow work. And so you hear that noise in the back as I was talking about. Excuse that. Okay, so yes. So getting on to the topic of the 14 days of self-love. Excuse me. So 14 days of self-love um and so this is all about inner work, healing the inner child, shadow work. Sometimes people call it that hard work, that work from the inside out. And so basically what that is kind of going back a little bit and thinking about the times that um, these have to do with like a lot of the self-limiting beliefs, a lot of the things that stop us from really becoming the person, the woman, the mother, the friend, the worker, whoever it is that we inspire to be. And when we are working on that shadow work, that inner child, that's the kind of the things that we don't really want to talk about. We really want to kind of cover up. We want to keep in the closet. We really don't want to mention or tell people about, because those are some of the private things that we kind of go through, and we work alone, or we work with someone, a trusted friend, a counselor, a therapist, someone, a trusted friend. But what it is that shadow work, that inner child work, is something that really, really has to be healed. It really has to be dealt with. And I would say, even to, if you don't feel comfortable stepping up, and you might have to see like a therapist or someone there. I am not a doctor. I'm not a therapist. I'm not any of this. So this is for educational purposes only. However, when you're going into doing the inner work, what happens is that you are actually working on some of the things that you've dealt with as a child. And so sometimes when we think about, when we were younger, some of the things that we have gone through and the things that we have not worked out fully. So for an example, if you've been bullied as a child, or if you've had some issues with self-esteem, or believing in yourself to finish things or follow through, or just anything that has kind of hurt you or really damaged your your personality, who you are as a person now as an adult life, and you have not yet healed. And sometimes you go right back into that inner child. Sometimes this could be, for an example, if you um, have been, let's get this here, if you have been in a situation where things have not worked out for you, and instead of resolving them, instead of coming to a place where you say, these things need to be in order, these things need to change, you kind of, it could be to a point where you say, well, you know what, I've always done it this way, I'm not changing for anyone, and you can go into like a pouting stage or like an upset stage, or you can go back to that child stage where you just kind of, cross your arms, say, forget about everything, let the cards fall where they may, but not really addressing the issue. And sometimes as a child, we can as it, when we don't address those things, when we are not heard, all the way, when we're not heard thoroughly for, with our voice, meaning that if we want to speak up and we want to say things and we want to, let's say we have an idea about something and we really, really want to like speak on it or act it out, and someone says, "Oh, be quiet, go over there and sit down somewhere." And then all of a sudden as a child, you really can't speak up. You really can't, like kind of argue back, or you really can't say anything back. And so what you do is you kind of go back into that shell, into that part of yourself where you're just quiet and you just kind of go along now. And when it happens so many times, what it is that you no longer want to pursue, or you no longer want to ask questions, or you no longer want to participate, or you no longer want to do the things that you would normally do while you're participating. And so, give me one quick second. I apologize. Hey, I can totally hear you, and I'm live. Okay, so thank you. Okay, I guess there's a lot of like noise going on right now. And so what happens is when we get to a point where we're really just at a stage in our life where we kind of had the same things happen to us over and over and over again as a have to be a pouting stage, but it can be of a state where we close off, or we may shout out or blurt just to kind of get our feelings across in a way that may be immature as an adult, but as a child we can get away with, certain things. And so when we think about healing the inner child, when we think about really going in deep and doing, and like really addressing, well, what happened when I was, a child, and what were the things that I dealt with, what were the things that that I've gone through, and who were the people that I weren't able to forgive, what was the issues that I faced that I never really resolved. And so because some of the things are the things that are holding us back from right now, from where we want to get to, from where we aspire to be. And so when we get to certain points in our life and we're like, oh my gosh, I'm getting ready to get this raise, or I'm getting ready to get in this new relationship, or I'm getting ready to do this. And all of a sudden we have these child issues, the meaning that we have these inner works, social to be. So doing that inner work, that shadow work, what the things that we put in the closet, the things that we don't want to talk about. It's not that we have to go and discuss, oh, I did this last year, this a year before this. It's not the things that we need to broadcast to everyone, but it's the things that we need to kind of put out, pull back the layers, just like an onion peel. And it smells like, oh my gosh, like I really, had gone through these, but I never resolved this issue. So what I need to do is to myself, or with a counselor or a friend or something, I need to talk through this. I need to write this out. I need to figure out how I can get this resolved, because if I don't, it's just going to follow me everywhere I go. It's like when we don't resolve an issue, we can change jobs, we can change cities, we can change our place where we live, we can, go somewhere else, we can meet another person, But guess what? The thing is that it never leaves us. It just shows up. It manifests in something different. So we go to a different job because we say, you know what, I can't stand so and so and so and so, or we just don't get along, or this is just too much of this here and I can't take it. Well, guess what? When you different faces with different names manifest the same things to you. So it just can't be that job. It just can't be that person last year that, that three different situations, three different relationships didn't work out because of the same thing that happened. It's something that we're doing. It's something that we have not resolved. And so the inner work is kind of looking in and saying, okay, what is it in me that I'm addressing? What is it in me that kind of takes me off? And I go back into this is me. I don't need to change for anyone. If they, if you want to hang around with me, if you want to be with me, then you have to accept that I don't need to change. That's the part in there that shadow work, that dark work that we have to do, and it's hard. It's really difficult. That's why I say you need to probably seek professional counseling, a trusting friend, a pastor, someone that you really know that can walk you through those steps of healing yourself. There's a lot of meditations, healing meditations that you could get a hold of, and kind of that self affirmations. Journaling is something that's super important to take advantage of as well, because that way you can get your thoughts and your feelings out and you can express that on paper. But healing and working through that is going to be imperative, because here's the thing, a lot of people talk about aces, and that's kind of like what happens. It's for an example, to kind of just kind of shorten up what it means. It's basically something that a child may go through from the first early years of their life, and they may have a situation where there's a move, there's a change, there's a death in the family, there's some type of hardship, there's some type of trauma, there's something that has happened in that child's life that has now affected them, and it will affect their growth, it will affect their mindset, it'll affect their behavior from here on out. So just think about the child. If you've ever had anyone who has been either sexually abused, or has lost a family member, or has had moved from another state, or had all these different things happen, right? If and basically what it is that if you had three or more of those, then you're susceptible to a lot of the different challenges that happen in life. And so if you can raise your hand to maybe any of those or one of those, it's still a childhood trauma. It's still something, it's still inner work that needs to be helped. And it goes deeper than that. Let's just put in for clarity's sake, even a mother and a child. So just think about a mother that has prayed it, and she's now pregnant and going to have a child. But if this mother is going through any type of stress, any type of abuse, any type of work stress, any type of trauma, any type of anything that is not conducive to her well-being at any point in her life, or during the stages of this of giving birth, that affects the child. That affects the child, because now this child is able to hear. This child is able to now, they can't obviously know what's happening, but they know they're getting traumatized. They know something's wrong in the belly of the mother. So imagine a baby, unborn child being able to understand and hear the trauma and the things that the mother is facing, the different difficulties, the stress, maybe at work, maybe in the environment, maybe home, maybe with friends, maybe relationships, maybe you know And I'm not here to say, look, I'm here to tell you this. I'm telling you that this is a part of self love. I'm telling you that these are things that need to be addressed. I'm telling you that you need to, you probably may just need to seek professional help, so that someone may be able to actually, help you through these areas, because it's something that's tough. It's something that's difficult. It's something that many of us, are not willing to talk about, because it's so deep rooted and so delicate, to talk about. What if we do not walk on these issues, if we do not address these issues, it's just going to continue. It's going to continue. Just like young men too. We can't just think about women. We have to think about young men and society and things like that. What are they going through? What do they hear? What are the constant things that are rotated on the television and the media? All of those things are trauma. All those things in music and life and the news. All of these things. What's going on in the world? There's a pandemic. There's stress. People everywhere are kind of stressing out. There's new strands here. There's different things happening here. There's different restrictions, and people are not being able to do what they wanted to. The people are not able to do what they used to do, and so they're feeling really, really, really confined and restricted. And it's like everything has changed. And so they're like, what is happening now? And it's almost pulling them back. It's almost like what type of stress, of trauma, of pain. And think about the little children, think about the adults, and think about all of this happening. And so there's a mental health issue going on. There's trauma, there's childhood trauma, there's so much that this is beyond me in this conversation. I am just tapping the tip of this conversation. I am not even qualified to go into depth with what the radius, the how deep and how profound these issues are. However, I can tell you, as a part of self-love, healing and working on the inner child and going and whatever it is that you do, whether it's praying, whether it's meditating, whether it's getting go doing yoga, or like I said, journaling, writing things out. What is it that I need to work on within myself? What's one thing that I could go and seek professional help with, or going to seek a counseling? Because a lot of times the therapist, sometimes we don't want to, like, I don't want to say everyone, but sometimes many people are against getting therapy, or against or may not be open to it. But a lot of people are open to it, and now it's something that is not something that is like a taboo or things like that. So just being open, and if you're not there yet, having a trusted friend, having someone that you can kind of bounce off things, or saying, this is what I need help with, this is what I'm working on. Is anyone there to be able to help, to guide me through, to maybe somehow help me to even address maybe the simplest things that maybe it's just something that I've always you know um, it's so broad that I can't just give you one specific area to talk about. However, I can tell you that this is one of the most open topic that everyone's talking about: stress and inner child and shadow work, especially within the spiritual community. And a lot of times in what on news, and sometimes they call it different things like mental health, stress, and things like that. But when we love ourselves enough, we love ourselves enough to get support. We love ourselves enough to get the help. We love ourselves enough to begin to do the inner work, the inner child. And we love ourselves enough to say, okay, this has been a repeating pattern in my life, and I know I need to figure out the root of the cause, or where it stemmed. Was it because sometimes it comes from epigenetics, sometimes it could be something that we've actually experienced generationally, and that it mean like it could be passed down generationally, sometimes through tradition, sometimes through just this is what happens to, or this is how we deal with this. But not getting to the root of it is neglecting the divine love, neglecting yourself. Look at the parts of me that I have not always been, that I've not always loved, that I've not always been in agreement with, that I've kind of that I did not like at all. And I want to be able to harmonize my whole self. I want to harmonize my whole life, because I know I love myself to the core, but there's some things that I need to dig deep, understand, and learn about myself, so that I can flourish, so that I can understand that no matter what, I've experienced, no matter what I have been through within in this lifetime, I can say this has only made me stronger. This has only helped me to see myself. This now is a superpower. I have transmuted and I have transformed these things to become of my better good. And now I can speak on what I've been through, what I've gone through, and I have a t-shirt for it to help someone else. Has now been someone's blue, guidebook to not make the same issues or to kind of walk through what they were afraid to do in the first place. So always know that loving ourselves starts with healing from the inside out. Shadow work is the dark work that we don't want to talk about, that things are inside of us, that the things that, that are mess that can be transformed to a masterpiece if we put ourselves go back into a pity party. We say, oh my gosh, I did this, this, and this, and I don't know how I'm going to get over it. Remember, yesterday's series was self love, forgiving ourselves and others. So we forgive ourselves from the things that, kind of, that we have been through and held us back, and things that we've chosen to do, and things that we have not chosen, and things that has happened to us. We forgive ourselves and others. And self work is also going a little bit deeper and pulling back those layers and doing that with a professional, doing that with someone that you trust so that you can do it. And it's not going to happen overnight, but it will happen overnights. All right. So I hope this message has helped you. This topic today was self love is healing the inner child, doing shadow work so that you can get to the deepest, profound part of yourself and love yourself in spite of everything. I hope you enjoy this message. And as I mentioned, I have a very, very special gift for you, and that is my 14 days of self love guided workbook. And it's absolutely free. And in that, it comes along with questions and answers. It goes over everything that we've talked about, questions that you can ask yourself, things to do. There's calls to action, and there's some surprises at the end of that workbook. And so I know that you're going to want to enjoy it. All you have to do is check out this link, and you can go to the other videos in the link below and click on your name, add your email address in there. And I want to get this quickly to you so that you can go back and look at the other videos as well as jot down all the information that you have learned thus far, because this is going to be valuable. This is for you. Self love is underrated. This is not a day thing, it's not a week thing. This is a lifetime deal. And the more you love yourself, the red carpet will be laid down for you. All is well in your world. You are amazing. You're beautiful. You're wonderful. Everything is always working out for you. Everything is working out for the greatest and highest good for yourself and humanity. So let us show love. Let us show light. Let us operate in the highest vibrations of love, peace, joy, happiness, and understanding. All right, I love you. My name again is Tanisha Portier. I am a global innovator for the 21st century. So I know, I feel, I see, say, touch, taste, believe that I am here to create. I'm here to cultivate my natural gifts and talents by first starting off by helping and healing myself, my family, and then the world. So wherever you are in the world, whether it's morning, noon, or night, I am blowing kisses to the globe. Have a beautiful day. And as always, smile. Keep smiling, okay? You're going to make it. I believe in you. I love you. Smile.